What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're playing Valorant, and in this video I'm going to be showing you tips and tricks and basically ways on how you can 100% improve your gameplay performance when playing in an online game. So the first thing we're going to talk about is CrossHair. Now loads of people are making videos on crosshairs, on top 5 crosshairs, and all of it's pretty helpful and stuff, but in this video I'm just going to kind of quickly skim over it. I'm just going to show you my personal favorite crosshair as just a regular Valorant player. So here we go. If we go into settings, down to crosshair, obviously crosshair color is going to change depending on what agent you play as. So for example, if you're playing Venom, you're obviously not going to go with the green crosshair color because you just won't be able to see it when you're using your abilities. That's why I went for cyan, because basically the only thing that you can't see off is the sky, and you're not really going to be looking at the sky much. So I recommend cyan. Outlines off, so you won't need to do these two settings unless you have them on. That's up to you, but personally I don't like outlines. Center dot, that's also another personal preference. I don't like that. It just basically adds a little dot to the middle of your crosshair. I think it looks better without it, and you get to see more, especially if you're aiming at someone's head. If that dot's in the way, it can get kind of annoying. So if you have it off, these two settings don't matter either, but if you do have it on, then you can just mess around with those. Crosshair, fade crosshair with firing error off, and show spectating players crosshair. I have that on. I just find it interesting to see what crosshairs some people come up with, as they can be quite creative. Inner line opacity, this is another personal preference. Personally, 0.8 is perfect for me. Then I have inner line length at 7, inner line thickness at 2, and then inner line offset at 0. Movement error off, firing error on. Outer line lines all on 0, and then movement error off and firing error off. Now if you want to pause the video and just go back a bit in case I was going a bit fast, then feel free to do that. But now let's go on to agents. Now a perfect way of finding out what agent is best for you is actually just going into a customs and just testing them all out. That's how I found out who I wanted to be. Personally, I'm in Raze, and if someone does pick her, which is very likely, I'll main Jett or Phoenix. So yeah, going into customs is a great way of finding out not only who you want to play as once you've unlocked the free agent unlock, as I believe it's cypher, omen, viper, breach and Riz, that are all locked. It's a perfect way of just finding out which one of those you're going to pick instead of just reading through their abilities. So once you've kind of got a feel for what bloody agent you want, this is important. You want to learn the weapons, not only to see which ones you're best with or your favourites, but also you can do this thing. You can do this thing, where when you click right on the mouse when you're in the buy phase, it will request the gun. So you'll see, like in the party. Okay, I haven't played a match today, so it won't show. But when you're in a game, if someone clicks right on a gun when they're in the buy phase, it'll come up in chat saying, "Can someone buy me this weapon?" Because sometimes people don't have enough credits and they go bust, and someone might have spare so they can buy them a weapon. So that's really important to know the names in case someone does request it and you need to get to it fast. The next thing we're going to go over is actual controls, so as in like keybinds and stuff. Most of the keybinds are fine as default, but there are some that you definitely want to change. I don't think I've changed any in here. This all looks to be the same, I'm pretty sure. If there is anything different, then feel free to change it. There were a couple toggle things that I did change though, so maybe crouch was on toggle, I don't know. But aiming, definitely, for me aiming was on toggle. You 100% change that to hold, unless you're okay with toggle, I guess. That's totally fine, but most people don't use that. A big one is if you do have the 2 side thumb buttons on your mouse, definitely set your 2 of your abilities to those buttons. So I have ability 1 as thumb mouse button 2 and ability 2 is thumb mouse button 1. This just makes it a lot easier for me to use my abilities whilst also traversing around. And then I think I switched Q around. I don't know what was Q before. It might have just been ability 1 or 2, but I switched ability 3 to Q, I think. I'm not sure. You might have to correct me on that if that's the same. But communication, you can do messing around with this. It can come in pretty handy. Personally, I haven't really done anything with this. I might do something in the future. But basically, if you mess around with this, it just makes it easier for you to do call-outs if you're not on the mic, but usually I just use my mic anyway, so I don't really use that much. Interface, it's basically just a bunch of other settings. So map, you can do some stuff with your map. Leaderboards, not really important stuff. The main stuff is just your equipment and your movement that you want to keybind to what you personally play best with. Obviously, my keybinds, even though they're not much different to the regular ones, aren't going to be for everyone, so you got to do your own messing around, but I'm just saying, like, these are what work for me. So if you do want to copy them, then go ahead. So we've done crosshair, we've done controls. Now let's move on to sensitivity. Now, like I said, again, this is personal preference, and probably the best way of doing this is going into the shooting range, as there is a little sensitivity thing that you can adjust very slightly whilst you're still doing it, instead of going into your settings, changing it, going into a game and testing that out. It just makes it a lot faster when you do it in the shooting range. But for me, I personally just play on 1.8 for my aiming sensitivity, and then scope sensitivity, so when you're zooming in, just around 1. If you want, you can just well, that's actually 900, isn't it? You can just type it in if the slider isn't as accurate as you want it to be. But I don't think anything else on here has changed either. Like I said, there's some map customization you can do. Oh, there is one thing, minimap. Originally, it will be on rotate. However, I recommend, if you are a new player, definitely have it on fixed, as it does let you learn the map a lot easier. Because when you're rotating, it can be a bit confusing trying to do callouts, especially if you're spectating. But I think all this is the same. Obviously, depending on how good your PC is, stuff like graphics is that's not really going to affect how well you play, just as long as you aren't dropping frames from trying to play on high. So I usually just go medium. I think that's what it was set anyway. But yeah, just make sure you're not trying to push it too much to the part where you're actually losing frames and it's impacting on your performance. Now, if we go into career, I'll quickly just show you a couple games. So as you can see, this is very disgusting, and this probably just makes me look like I have no idea what I'm talking about. But actually, this is my first. No, these matches are from my first day playing Valorant, and it stops about there. So all these matches were my first day playing Valorant. They're all basically similar. This is my first ever match. 3 to 20, not great, and I presume a lot of other people will have not as great experiences. This is my first win, best round 19. It's not too great, it's just, let's just get into learn the game a bit more, see, popping off a little bit. Not much, still at the bottom end of the leaderboard though, which isn't what we like to see. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because all of this is before I change my reticle, or bloody, I don't know what I forgot what it's called. But yeah, before I change my reticle and my keybinds, anything really. Obviously I'd done small things like toggle aim and stuff, but this is all before I messed around with it, and it was pretty disgusting. And then I took a day break because I had to do some stuff, and I came back the next day, which is today, and after I changed everything, I skyrocketed. It was insane. Like, the reticle makes such a big difference. Like, there's so many reticle CrossHair videos out there for a reason, and it is because it makes a huge difference, especially once you've got your controls down. Once you've got your controls down and you found the right reticle, the sensitivity, you will do so well. So as you can see here, I went 21 to 12, which is quite decent. Third on the leaderboard, which isn't bad. But then if we go one match ahead, I did even better. So we got best round was round 1. Got a triple kill, first blood, 1.2 kills per round. So I think, I'm not sure if that's your KD, or I think that is your KD. But and then 209 damage per round. None of that really matters, apart from the fact I went 20 and 4. So you can clearly see the difference between this and this. You see, if I had one more kill, then it would be exactly the other way around. But yeah, so this is before I changed all my settings on reticle and sensitivity, and this is after. And there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, and since the 7th, after I changed it, it's just, there's such a big difference. It's just so, there's no other way you can really put it apart from you have to change your reticle. Especially if you're still using the default one. I mean, it's not terrible, it's just you can optimize it a lot better than that to your playstyle. So they're basically all the basics that I wanted to go over. So once you have done all that, say you have changed your reticle to what I'm using, or your keybinds, obviously okay, let me worry, I can't bloody speak. Obviously you're gonna want to go straight into a new game, test it all out and see how you're doing, and that is exactly what we're going to do now. And I'm going to show you basically how well you can quickly improve from terrible games you've had in the past. So yeah, let's get straight into this.
One enemy remaining. Flawless. One enemy remaining.
Still here, amigo.
Defenders win.